Hello to all of you, beloved souls. Welcome to this Soul Power series. My name is Chloe Veska, and today is an extraordinary day because I am welcoming in this beautiful container of light the exquisite Riana Arendse. Riana is a visionary spiritual teacher whose presence on this retreat is very significant and precious to me, because she has really been one of the most impactful mentors in my own journey of healing and enlightenment. She is an absolute master healer and also a renowned channel and sage for the highest order of angels, the seraphim. And Riana is also an international best-selling author with her book, You Are the Creator. And she has recently released a new extraordinary book called A New Miraculous Way of Being. Riana, welcome.
Oh, thank you so much. I will admit your introduction actually brought me to tears, just because I felt I felt your heart just emanate through your words and through your being. So thank you for that beautiful welcome. I'm so excited to be with you.
Well, I'm very grateful. I'm sure our beautiful audience, who is already so enlightened, is as well. And we all can feel the powerful yet very soothing presence of the seraphim with us. I certainly do. So, Riana, knowing a little bit about your own journey, it has been a path of many initiations for you, many challenges to transcend in order to reach this level of mastery and serve others. And so, for the ones in our beautiful audience who may go through challenging times and initiations, well, first know that you're not alone. And then, Riana, this leads me to ask you, how can we use suffering as indicators in our life? In other words, how can we make the most of our suffering?
It's such a beautiful and powerful question. And there are many, many things I could say around this point, but for me, it is identifying the fact that our experiences of contraction or our pain or our suffering, it's not really a barrier to anything. It's not keeping us from happiness. It actually is the doorway to our expansion. It is the doorway to our happiness. And that's where many of us sort of, not go wrong, but we sort of delay our own path of ascended mastery, because we sort of view certain experiences as a barrier or a boundary or a mountain that we need to climb over. And yes, it can feel like a mountain. It can feel like the most difficult thing that one could experience. But when we actually just listen deeply to what wants to be received, to what wants to be expanded and given to us in that moment of grace, that is when we are able to then see more clearly, understand more clearly, and we are able to receive clarity regarding our experiences. It will take us to the next level. But I will also mention this. I'm being shown this analogy of, we have an experience, right? Just an experience. And maybe this experience is very uncomfortable. Then we become aware of our experience. Now, when we become aware of our experience, we almost take this omni perspective of our experience. So we no longer are in the experience, we are observing the experience. But what tends to happen most often is that then we begin to judge our experience. And judging our experiences are usually the cause of secondary pain or secondary suffering in our lives. When I was on many of my initiations and many experiences of, I would say, spiritual death and rebirth, or complete, just felt like I was cornered into a corner and I just couldn't find a way out. I couldn't find relief. I began to stop the mental acrobatics, the judgments of my experience. And I just began to listen very deeply. And when we begin to listen very deeply, we are then given a greater understanding or more clarity, a deeper expansion into what wants to unfold. And it's not about releasing or fixing oneself. I know I'm jumping into different fields, but they're showing me these different pathways that people usually go down. So once we're having a contracted experience, we then judge the experience instead of listening deeply to what the experience wants to unfold for us. And for example, maybe it's anger or sadness. Let's take anger, for example. We have an experience where we are having intense anger. And so we then try different means and methods and ways to try and release the anger, or to try and get rid of the anger, because having the anger is uncomfortable. Having the anger makes me feel disoriented. It makes me feel like I'm leaning into something that's unknown to me, and I'm scared. If I'm going to tap into this anger, I'm scared something bad is going to happen. I'm scared I'm going to fall off this cliff, because we're not used to the unknown. We're used to the known, the comfortability. But when we listen deeply and we just go into stillness and we just listen to what the anger wants to present to us, allow the anger to breathe, allow the anger to be, allow that emotion to be exactly as it is, and just listen intently, deeply. That anger then naturally transforms into perhaps grief, the underlying cause, or perhaps sorrow. And the more we listen more deeply to that anger without trying to fix it or release it or push it away, that anger will naturally change into a frequency of peace or understanding or love, when we give it that moment and the space to be and breathe, the acknowledgement that it needs. And so suffering, coming back to your question, suffering, personally, I don't believe that. I believe that suffering is a choice. I believe that pain and contraction and uncomfortability and very intense experiences are had and is a normal part of being human. I personally believed that suffering for me was because of all the mental acrobatics, the stories, the assumptions, the judgments I was making based on my experiences. So I would have an experience that didn't feel comfortable, and then I would say, oh yeah, that, you see, Riana, it's never going to work out. Do you see? I will come up with all these stories and all these judgments about my experience. And when I stopped the mental acrobatics and I just allowed myself to be still, that is when I started to expand more deeply, and I started to see the doorway open up for me through that experience. And I started to feel, yes, uncomfortable, but I leaned into that a little bit more, and I realized that there was actually gold inherent for me waiting on the other side, deeper expansion, deeper embodiment, that my emotions of perceived suffering was actually an opportunity for me to really embody more of my soul's essence. Does that make sense so far?
Oh, yes. And I will say it again. I say that very often. Please, beautiful audience, re-listen to this, because there have been many, many gold nuggets in this incredible introduction. Thank you, Riana. So that, yes, this is what you're saying. It's transcendence, it's transmutation. And there's a connection with also then hearing our guidance. So not of our mind, but of our heart and our soul. Do you have some tips for us to expand that, or to connect even more with with our higher self, actually?
Oh, absolutely. Well, there are obviously many things that one can do, but what I found was that, I remember being on my journey, and I remember comparing my experiences to other people's experiences. They were having these magical experiences, and they were having these breakthroughs and these moments of profound healing, and they were having all of their gifts and abilities come online, and I was just the one trying to heal and heal and heal and heal and heal. And there was a point in time where I realized I was comparing my experiences to others' experiences of what I thought it should look like. I thought, okay, if I'm really connected to the divine, then I'm going to have an experience like this, or I'm going to be able to feel unconditional love throughout my day. And what I came to realize was that I needed to let go of the ideas, assumptions, and expectations of what my path should look like. Because at the end of the day, we are here as personality beings, or our ego structures as human beings, taking on a specific role. And through all the conditioning that we go through, we forget that we are a soul. We forget that we are connected to source. And when we identify too much with the ego structure, too much with the limited perspective of the personality self, it can feel as if we are disconnected from source. It can feel as if we are cut off from these magical experiences, from our divine knowing and our divine power. But the truth is that we can never be disconnected, because our natural essence is that connection. Our natural essence is all that is creation, is source consciousness. And so I usually teach in my classes the ability to, or not the ability to, the cultivation of identifying with yourself on a whole new level, not identifying so much so with the personality self, because the personality self is the part of you that will always think that it's not enough, will always compare itself to the next person, will always think that happiness is in a future time, in a future date. The soul self, the God self, the state of consciousness that of you that is eternal, knows its perfection. It knows that it is eternal. It knows that it can never be broken or harmed, or it can die in any way or form. And when we allow the soul essence, our state of being, where we are connected to source consciousness, to lead the way, and our ego can follow, that is when we then lead with a higher frequency, a higher state of consciousness. When we are allowing the ego or personality self to lead the way, we are always going to be trying to fix ourselves. We are always going to be looking at ourselves as not enough. We are always going to think that happiness is in a future date or time, instead of knowing that happiness exists here within me now. Whether I'm sick, whether I am in discomfort, whether I am not seeing the external manifestations that my heart desires, there's a knowing and a trust that naturally is embodied when you connect to your soul essence. And so my not suggestion, but what I would recommend to anyone that is wanting to feel a deeper connection to their highest essence, is to begin to identify, meaning through stillness, through taking time out to just be present with what is. Allow yourself to be fully present with the now moment, because we tend to sort of want to leave our bodies. We tend to sort of want to disassociate from our experiences when it becomes too uncomfortable. I challenge you to now be with yourself in those moments of contraction and be still. The more that we can relax our bodies, our nervous systems, the more we actually allow space to be created within our being, and the more that we allow source energy to flow through. I'm seeing this beautiful analogy in my mind's eye. Just imagine for a moment, everyone that's listening to the call, just imagine for a moment that you are in a room, a huge room, maybe perhaps a palace or a castle, and thousands and thousands of people have come to this palace and castle to come and see you. They've come to experience your service, your offering, your state of being, because you are so magnificent. And you are sitting there on your throne or standing on the stage, however you want to see this. What is going through your mind in this moment? Is it, I don't know if I can do this. Is it, am I good enough? What thoughts are running through your mind in this moment? And for a lot of us, I will say that we will probably be thinking, okay, thoughts of unworthiness will come up, or thoughts of doubt will come up, or thoughts of, can I do this will come up, or whatever those limiting beliefs are that you have. But what if I told you that there's one thing in this room besides yourself and the people that have come to see you? That one thing that's there that has not been acknowledged is source consciousness. We've been identifying with ourselves as a personality or ego structure for so long that sometimes we forget that there's a higher power that is already around and within us that wants to flow through us. When we let go of the old limitations and paradigms of how we think it should be, how we think we should look or act, or how spiritual we are, or how spiritual looks to other people, or what we should do or say, then we restrict the flow of that life force energy to flow through us. And the path of mastery, the path of embodiment and expression, and walking the path as your full potential, is in the ability to allow more space within yourself so that source, your source energy, can flow through you and express itself as it wants to. Beloved, all of you are not here to follow. You are here to lead. You're here to go first. You are here to birth wisdoms and experiences that have not been birthed before. But we are so in our minds in terms of what we think and expect, and our beliefs and our comparisons and our ego structures and the old paradigms of what a business or offering or a state of being should look like, that we don't allow that force, your life force, to fully flow through our being and express itself as it wants to express itself, fully, wholly, completely. And so when we then realize, okay, it's not just me in the room here as a personality, there is source. I am source. Source flows through me. How can I receive these people in this palace now who have came here to receive my offering, my service, my state of being? Then all of those beliefs and limitations and thoughts about who we are, how we should do it, goes out of the window. Because then we are completely in a surrendered state and a trustful state that source should just flow as it wants to flow. Doesn't that feel better when we realize that source is in the room with us, that it's not just this personality, limited self? That feels more expansive. And that is what this path is about. It's about identifying yourself, identifying with yourself on a whole other level, identifying with yourself, with your soul self, more so instead of with the personality self. The personality self is just a vehicle or a body for you to express your divinity through, a vehicle to express your soul, your sourcefulness through. And so that would be my suggestion to everyone listening to this. Experience your moments fully, feel your feelings completely, listen deeply, allow yourself to be so present with every single moment as it happens, and trust that there is grace in your experience. Every moment is filled with grace. And when we are able to see that and allow it to be, that, beloved, is grace realized. Grace realized in every moment, whether it is uncomfortable, whether it is joyous. There is an opportunity, there is a gift inherent in everything, even if we cannot see how this is serving us. There's a part of you that knows that this moment is serving you. And then at a future timeline, you're going to look back on this experience and say, oh, okay, I see why I needed to go through that. I see how that made me stronger. I see how that helped me embody more of my mastery. I see how that taught me certain ways of being that I can now teach others. I hope that answered your question, Chloe.
Oh, yes, and much more. And this is divine that you address this aspect of comparison and competition, because it has been something that people of my community struggle with, right? Both are dated. This is a new paradigm where we're moving away from that towards collaboration and co-creation. And when I think about co-creation, it's also a lot co-creation with the divine, with source consciousness, what you talked about. So, you know, that the core subject, one of the core subject of this retreat, is something that you've talked about a lot, is the fact that we are the creators of our reality, that we are the masters of our life experience, which is actually a reflection of us, sometimes of our doubts and fear, But we have to trust and we have to have faith. And like you said, we must surrender. But right, this surrender is sometimes a concept that, yes, I hear people telling me, yes, I understand, but it's hard.
Oh,
Isn't it?
absolutely. Absolutely. Surrender is not something that happens in a moment. It is a cultivation. It is something that you have to almost, you have to, it has to become a habit, because we are so conditioned for time, for years and decades and lifetimes after lifetime. We've been conditioned to resist our experiences because it feels so intense, it feels so uncomfortable. But surrender is your natural state. And so what we are then doing is we are coming back to our natural state. And it is a process of relearning once again, remembering once again how to be in complete surrender. And it is a cultivation. It's a constant day in, moment to moment, reminding yourself, bringing your awareness back to the moment and saying, you know what can I do in this moment now? How can I surrender more deeply now? Are my thoughts keeping me in resistance right now? What thoughts am I having? What stories and assumptions and judgments am I having about this experience? How can I relax my body even more now? How can I soften my nervous system so that my physical body can release all the old patterns and paradigms and blueprints that is not in alignment with my soul's essence? Surrender is something that I've had to master every single day of my journey for the last few years, like constantly, because I was constantly being initiated, constantly being challenged to surrender. And my mind was very stubborn. My mind, I was an overthinker. I would overanalyze. I would think about the worst possible outcome. And I really needed to surrender my mind. I needed to surrender to my emotions. I needed to surrender my physical body. Most importantly, I was holding so much fear in my physical body because of past traumas that I didn't know how to process them. My body didn't know how to allow them to move through me. And I was forced, during one of my initiations, I was forced to surrender my body in essence, where I didn't have the energy to fight. I was forced to lay down on my bed and just give in. And I needed to just let the fears in my mind go. I needed to lean into those emotions, no matter how uncomfortable they are. And I surrendered so deeply that even after that, when I experienced something fearful, I could feel it moving through the body and out. My body began to become habituated to relaxing more often than it was before. And so my body also sort of began to reprogram itself into not assuming fearful thoughts and behaviors because of certain experiences I would have. And so now when I experience and I have an experience where it triggers a little bit of fear or a little bit of, oh, I'm leaning into the unknown here, I don't know what this means, I immediately go into relaxing the body, clearing the mind, meaning I go into a no mind where my mind can cling onto certain stories. I just relax deeply as if I'm sinking into the bed, sinking into myself. And I don't allow my thoughts to run away with me. And if they do run away with me, I observe them. And I tell myself, is this really true? Is what you're thinking now really true? You become a master of becoming so aware of the tricks you play on yourself, the stories that you come up with based on past experiences or future anxieties. And you then learn to then relax the body, relax the nervous system, allowing the body, allowing the emotions, and allowing everything to flow naturally. And it can feel uncomfortable in those peak moments, but even those moments of discomfort will pass. Once you reach a threshold where it feels really uncomfortable, you have a choice. Either go back into resistance and experience constant discomfort, or allow yourself to experience this deep moment of discomfort and move over the threshold into complete surrender. It's an ongoing practice, but my recommendation to everyone that is wanting to learn to surrender deeply is to learn your own way of what helps you to become still. And it doesn't mean you have to force your mind to switch off. It just means what brings you into a state of feeling more relaxed, even if things are heightened now. You can experience a heightened emotion of being triggered by someone. Maybe they triggering you with anger or resentment or something. What I then do is I will be triggered. I will remove myself from that situation. I'll go to my room or to my bed. I'll immediately lay down and allow that emotion to move through me. And I will just lay and lay and lay and lay until I feel my nervous system is now still. That is a practice that really works, because when your nervous system is feeling safe, that means you're not feeling threatened. That means you are not you're not in resistance to your experiences, to your emotions. And so the trick is getting your nervous system, your body, in sync with your soul self. And that is through stillness, that is through relaxation, that can be through music, that can be through connecting with water, whatever that is for you. But it is an ongoing practice of constant awareness, constant stillness, relaxation. And it's not really about meditation, because I'll be honest with you, Chloe, I don't meditate. I've never been drawn to meditate ever. I've never been drawn to meditate. I found something that worked for me, and that was, you can think of it like walking meditation, where I just become still. I don't have to think about anything. I don't have to visualize anything. I can do that if I choose to do that in the moment, but I can just choose to become still. Or perhaps it's a moment where you just need some laughter, and you go watch a Netflix series, or whatever that is for you, or you go lay in your bath, whatever it is for you, it's going to be specific to you. Find that thing that will allow you to become still and relaxed, and it will allow your body and your mind to just allow things to flow through you. It's not about releasing, it's about those emotions coming up and then naturally transforming. And it can only naturally alchemize and transform if we relax our physical, emotional, and mental bodies. When we are in resistance in any of those bodies to what is happening right now, then we almost prolong the suffering, we prolong the pain. We stand by that wall, and it feels like we just can't break through. Breaking through the wall is not the point. When you surrender, that wall naturally crumbles. And when we surrender, it's not about being caught as you jump off the mountain. It's actually about realizing that you can fly. Surrender, beloved, gives you wings. It gives you wings, that you realize that you have the medicine within your own being that you might be seeking outside of yourself. You already have that medicine. And when you are present with every moment, every doorway that opens up for you, every opportunity, every moment experience of the unknown that might feel uncomfortable for you, then you are able to tap into your own medicine and become your own healer. That is what I teach, and that is what I would suggest to everyone here today, and remind you today that you, beloved, you are your own healer. You have the medicine that can bring you back to a state of wholeness. And I say that from a perspective of your personality self, because from my perspective as my higher self, you are already whole. You were never broken. You were never limited. You were never not enough. You always were magnificent. And when we identify more so with who we truly are beyond this constructed version of ourselves, and we surrender to that, and we begin to trust the process, trust our journeys, that our journeys are not supposed to look like someone else's journey. It's going to unfold uniquely for all of us. Then we are in the flow of life, the flow of the river of life. I hope that gives some clarity.
This is magnificent, Riana. Thank you so much for that. And So this is a perfect vibration to end on, I think. But one last thing, would the Seraphim order have a special message just only for our beautiful audience who's taking the time and energy to listen, to tune in, and to take some time for themselves, for their growth?
Okay, let me just tune in here. I'm going to tune in here for a moment and just feel into. I'm going to invite everyone to tune in into this moment now. And I just want to feel into what wants to come through with it's a, okay. Okay. I'm feeling an expansion of the heart right now. Because I'm feeling quite emotional at the moment. And I'm feeling it's almost feels like there's a lot of people that's listening to this call now that's probably experiencing very challenging situations, whether it's relationship-wise, career-wise, spiritual path-wise, or just within yourself. And it's almost bringing me into tears, really, as I tap into the collective heart of everyone now. And I'm seeing, okay, instead of them stepping forward more closely now, and we're going to do a little bit of activation on the heart for everyone. So I ask you now, beloved, to just bring your awareness to the center of your chest, seeing those golden gates open up. I want you to step through those doors into that beautiful chamber within the heart space, a cave, if you will, crystalline, golden cave. I'm seeing alongside the seraphim is an ascended master stepping forward now, Al Moira. I've worked with him before in the past, but he rarely comes forward, and he's stepping forward now. And is activating almost underneath your feet like a whirlwind of energy. It almost looks like a tornado of energy underneath your feet now. And what this is doing is it's almost extracting a lot of the thought forms, beliefs, constrictions, or ideas of limitations that we've been holding on to. A lot of the shadows that have been placed upon us is being now extracted from your field into this whirlwind of energy underneath you now and being transmuted. It's like your field is being reset, is what I'm hearing, reset. Two seraphim stands behind each of you now in this cave, one on each side of your shoulder. And as they are expanding their wings, they ask that you expand yours, physically feeling the wings in your back begin to open up. Huge, magnificent wings. Activating your angelic wings now so that you may soar into the path that is meant for you, so that you may realize your magnificence. I'm hearing, stop playing small, stop dimming your light, stop comparing, show up authentically every single time, even if you think it doesn't look good or doesn't feel good. Show up authentically. The best thing you can offer the world is your authenticity. Allow the ideas of the ego, of who you are, of what the ego thinks you are, allow that to be burnt at the altar of your soul. Allow your heart now to bow humbly to your very essence as source consciousness, as an angelic being of light, as a masterful being. There's a golden ball of light now being placed in the center of your heart space now, being activated by the seraphim. It's spinning in front of the heart space now, but it's going inward into the chest now, allowing that now to be completely received. And I ask, beloved, that you surrender. Relax the body completely now, as if you are sinking into your chair, into your bed, into yourself, into your heart. Receive, beloved. Receive what is wanting to be received in this moment. Perhaps it is a remembrance. Perhaps it is a healing of the heart. Perhaps it is an acceleration of your journey forward. Perhaps it is a healing of old beliefs about yourself. Beloved, we say to you today that you are never alone. You were never alone. We have walked the path with you. We have always been by your side. In every moment of challenge, in every moment of joy, we have been there. We have been guiding you. We have been mirroring to you the potential of your own beautiful qualities. For many of you, we are you in a future timeline. Remember your divinity. Remember your strength. Remember that nothing can break you. That when you feel your emotions fully, you cannot die. Remember that. Remember that you are never separate from love. You are never separate from source. In fact, you are that. Walk forward and be the expression and embodiment of your divinity. Show up just as you are. Recognize and realize your worth. The fact that you are here means you are significant. The fact that you are here means you have something to offer the world. We love you. We honor you. Okay, they're encircling you now with a beautiful golden light all around your field, in your heart space where you are now, and also your physical vessel around you, your entire auric field. And they're going to leave you within this light for the next few hours or so. It's going to depend on each of you, whatever is ready to be transformed for you over the next few hours. I'm laughing because they're showing me there's some huge shifts for some of you over the next few days. And over the next few days, there might be certain experiences that might feel challenging for you. But just allow and surrender. Lean into that moment. Realize the grace in that moment. Realize that there is a gift inherent in that moment, even if you cannot see what it is. Trust, trust, and trust. Beautiful. All right, you can come back to your awareness now, back to the present moment now.
This is hard to find words after such a divine process, but Riana, I want to extend you and the Seraphim Order my most immense gratitude for this wisdom, for this divine activation and transmission. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much.
Oh, thank you for allowing us, and thank you for having us here with you. It's such an honor. As always, you are so beautiful. Your community is so beautiful. We are happy to have connected with all of you today. Thank you.
Thank you, Riana. Until next time, and many blessings to you.
Thank you, beloved. Bye.